I'm sure Philadelphia 76ers fans didn't want to hear, but probably aren't surprised at, is that Joel Embiid is going to undergo surgery, which could leave him out up to 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, NBA fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything NBA and basketball related. I'm your host, Haize, and we got news. Joel Embiid has been diagnosed with an MP, something going on with his appendix, and will undergo surgery. This is unfortunate, as Joel Embiid, him and Paul George both, when they've been playing and been relatively healthy, the Philadelphia 76ers look really, really good. And while the 76ers didn't provide an absolute timeline in regards to this, when you typically look at this type of procedure, it could leave them out for a little while. This is not the type of procedure, that appendectomy, that just leads you coming back in a couple of days. Typically, you're looking at about 2 to 3 weeks to resume normal activity, but for high-level sports, you're looking at about a 4 to 6 week timeline, which could mean that Joel Embiid is going to go out for a while. When you look at it, Trey Lyles underwent the same procedure in mid-July in 2020 when he was with the Spurs, and he didn't play again until August 13th. So you look at that, that's a nice amount of time. So you're not expecting Joel Embiid to be back. And this is at the absolute worst possible time, as the season is coming to an end and the playoffs are right around the corner. So, you know, the 76ers very well could have to go the whole entirety of the first round of the playoffs before that Joel Embiid even returns. Now, for what it's worth, I mean, the 76ers have been a pretty solid team. They have to make it through the play-in as well. Right now, the Orlando Magic, the Charlotte Hornets, and the Miami Heat are going to be the playing teams for the Eastern Conference. And while the Philadelphia 76ers have a above 500 record, 43 wins so far in the season, they can get up to 45, 46 wins before the season's over with. And some of that they've had to already play without Joel Embiid. You know, as long as Maxi's healthy and stuff like that, like we've seen the 76ers overcome some stuff. In a playoff series, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do that. I mean, don't count them out, because anything is possible. But with them not announcing a timeline yet, you never know what that could mean. Now, on the season, Joel Embiid's averaging 27 points, 7.7 assists. I'm sorry, 7.7 rebounds, 4 assists, and shooting the ball 48% from the field. He's only played 38 games, which is not a lot, but that is double the amount of games that he played last year. So he did double his games that he played year over year. But they were hoping that he was going to be there healthy for the playoffs, and that just is not going to happen now for the Philadelphia 76ers. So, you know, we'll see what happened in that one. What's going on? We got Jay Capone in the building. Yeah, so it's going to be really, really interesting to watch how this works out for the 76ers now. I have no doubt about it. With the season that Tyrese Maxey has had, who has had an absolute, like, almost for a while there, he was playing at an almost MVP caliber level. That is, if Maxey's going to be healthy, who Maxey's already also only played 67 games this season, but he's averaging 28 points per game. He's been their leading scorer for the entirety of the year. You have him. You have VJ Edgecombe, who's averaged 16. Paul George, who's averaged 17. They still got some firepower on that 76ers team, but it'll just be really, really interesting to watch how, if they have to go to the first round of the playoffs without Joel Embiid, what that's going to look like for them. And Dembon is leading them in block shots at 1.2. So you do have a Dembon down there as a player that's had to already get used to playing, to stepping in for Joel Embiid. They still got Andre Drummond down there as well. So they have some built-in centers that can fill in and play some minutes, but they don't necessarily have nobody that replicates offensively what Joel Embiid can do. And, you know, that's going to be the interesting part of all of this. So we'll see how it's going to shake out for them. I've learned to never count a team out. Sometimes teams learn to just overcome adversity, and they'll look at it and overcome it, and then maybe Joel Embiid comes back and provides them a little bit of lift. But if he's going to miss a month, that's more than just the first round of the playoffs. Like, I'm talking about first round. Like, we could literally be talking about the first 2 rounds of the playoffs if that's the reality of it, which, you know, I'm just sitting down really thinking about now. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what this ends up meaning, the impact that it does have on the Philadelphia 76ers. But this is at the worst absolute time that this could happen, man. And Joel Embiid just can't catch a break, man. It's just like every year at this point now, for the last 3 seasons, it's been something with Joel Embiid. and he's been unable to go into the postseason healthy. And this is why I've said before many times when it comes to this Philadelphia 76ers team that they have to build the team. If they can't move Joel Embiid or they refuse to move Joel Embiid, fine. But you have to build the team that can win without him. And then when you're there, he puts you over the top or whatever else. And they started making steps to do that. They're just going to have to continue that this offseason. You cannot go into another offseason and not overlook it. So we'll see. Vern says, what's good, Haize? You want your star player healthy when the playoffs approaching in 2.5 weeks, but they still got enough firepower, in my opinion, to hold it down. I mean, we'll see. And I'm sure that they're hoping that they do. Like, they've had some absolutely great, like, I'm talking about there were times where Paul George and Joel Embiid were out, and we saw the Philadelphia 76ers have a high-powered offense led by their guard rotation. And maybe they're hoping that you can do that again, and they can go back to that, which they had to do at the beginning of the season. If that ends up being the case, great. I mean, that's really all you can say for that one. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, man. If it wasn't for I have so much belief in Tyrese Maxey as a player that, maybe sometimes I try to give him a little bit too much credit. But, for a while, points in the season, Tyrese Maxey was leading them in points, steals, assists, and a lot of other places as well. So we know the level of player that Tyrese Maxey can be when it's all said and done, and you need to really rely on him. The question now becomes making it through the play-in, right? Because they have to go through the play-in, which is going to take a week, right? Like basically that's a week. And then you look at the first round playoff series, that's another 2 weeks or so. So we'll see. I just got here. What is he out with? He'll be getting surgery on his appendix. And so that's a surgery time that for returning to high-level sports usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks. So, and we know that Joel Embiid is not a fast healer. He's not somebody that tends to heal faster than the timeline. So it may even be a slower timeline return for him than that. But, we'll see what happens in that case. But he's going to have to get surgery on his appendix. That's what it is. Without Embiid, teams will focus on Tyrese. Yeah, I mean, they'll focus on Tyrese, and that's why it's important. You still got Paul George, who's been playing pretty well when he's healthy. You still have VJ Edgecombe, who we know that VJ Edgecombe can absolutely put up big points. We've seen him do that before. You still got Quentin Grimes there also, who's had some big scoring performance, and Kelly Oubre Jr. averaging over 14 points. So the key is that when teams zero in on Tyrese Maxey, because it's going to happen, those other guys need to hit shots, and they're going to have to do a lot of it from the perimeter. So we'll see what they do with that one. Sebastian says, "Holy shit." Who's your favorite to make it out the East? Man, honestly, I think the Boston Celtics. I love the Detroit Pistons, but you don't typically see young teams figure out a way in their first season, being the number one seed, to also come out the East. They're top 10 in offense, top 10 in defense, they're third overall in net rating. So there's reason to believe that the Detroit Pistons can still come out the East. And I don't say that to knock them. I'm just looking at the history of it, but I'd probably say the Boston Celtics. Just getting Jason Tatum back. They were already a team that, moved up to the second in the Eastern Conference even before Tatum came back. I'd probably say Boston, but, I really want to pick the Detroit Pistons because I love Cade. I love Jalen Duren. I think they're a really well-coached team. That time that they had to play without Cade Cunningham, a lot of players stepped up in the roles that they needed to step up to. So we'll see what happens there. I just hope it's not the Knicks and the Celtics again in the Eastern Conference Finals, but that's just me. All right, y'all. But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to this random live stream on. Son, what are you doing, bro? Now, you done came down here and interrupted the live stream, so you know what you got to do. Come here. Come here. You're not short anymore, son. You're almost 6 foot. Come on. Say hi to the people.
Hey.
They can't see your face, bro. You got chains on and stuff. You grown up. Say hi to them. Bend down and say hi to deep voice ass. Son, stop worrying about shit. The cat is around. You know cats, bro. You just got to let them come when they come. It's okay. All right? I love you. Pull up your pants, bro. Your drawers are showing. But all right, y'all. I appreciate you guys so much, man. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything NBA and basketball related. I'll catch y'all the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace.